Hi there, I'm really excited to introduce my very first game in Unity, which is the final project in JD50 class. Of course, thanks to Harvard, ADX, and Colton Ogden, the instructor of this course. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I've designed a kind of a car object in Blender to be used as the main object in my game. I used it as the player car and spawned enemy cars from the top side of the game. The game consists of three scenes: start, play, and game over scenes. I used a kind of horizontal animation in the start scene for a UI panel and UI text, which stop when reaching the middle of the screen. And I also have background image and audio source in that scene. The game over scene is ultra simple. It just shows that the player loses and gives it a second chance by hitting spacebar. I shall introduce the play scene, but after we take a demo how the game behaves. I have introduced a race time to the game so we can make things go fast for demonstration purpose. So I am going to set it to 10 seconds. So let's run our game. So hit the space bar to go to the play scene. I have a player car at the bottom, and there are enemy cars and fuel provider objects that are coming from the top side. I have got a couple of sliders to measure the car fuel and the car damage. I also have a UI text that indicates the progress of the race and shows to the player how they are far from the end of the race. When the player hits enemy car, it will damage by the half value of the total damage, and hitting either platforms will make a tiny damage as well. When the car is completely damaged, the player loses. The spawned fuel objects are used to fill in the player's car fuel tank, and when the car runs out of fuel, the player loses as well. You can pause the game at any time by hitting the space bar. Also, escape key can be used to exit the game at any time. When the player wins, a kind of waving or rotating flag is shown with congratulations sound. Now I will introduce a brief of how these stuff work. The backbone script is in the car controller script. I grab some public game objects like audio sources, images, and particle systems to be used in different game situations. I added a couple of coroutines in start method, one for running out the car fuel and the other for updating the race progress value over time. In update method, I am checking escape and space keys for exiting or pausing the game, and then check the horizontal arrow keys for car movement. When the player car hits either platforms, then a friction sound is played, a particle system is launched, the player car blinks, and finally a damage is made on the car. The explode method is called whenever the car is completely damaged. The enemy car script controls the spawned car's speed and collisions with different game objects, and the enemy car spawner spawns cars with different speeds and materials on random basis. The fuel and fuel spawner have the same logic as enemy car and enemy car spawner. The game over scene detects escape and space hits. The last but not least, the scrolling background makes the background road image scrolls infinitely on y-axis. Finally, the start scene detects escape and space keys and adds the mentioned horizontal animation. And that's it for my very first Unity game. Thank you for watching me.